Hey ladies and gentlemen, Trigger John coming at you with another Diablo 4 video. In this video, we are going to talk about scaling. The reason why we're going to talk about scaling is what is it? How does it impact your account? Why do you need to be aware of it? And more importantly, what to pay attention to when it comes to scaling and opponents becoming harder than you thought they were. All right, so for those of you wondering what am I talking about, John, so first things first, let's go ahead and break it down for you in a very easy way to understand. Now, as you level up your character, you're supposed to be getting stronger, right? Like that's typically how these types of games go. And you get excited, you're like, hey, I'm getting all these skill points, I'm getting all these, I got all my skills done, I'm getting these Paragon points here, I'm gonna fill out all my boards, I'm gonna be a super monster, right? That's what a lot of you guys would think. However, that's not quite how Diablo 4 did it. Now, did they go too far away from it? Not really. Have they introduced something that I personally am okay with? Absolutely. And the reason why is, simply put, it makes you pay attention a lot more. And the reason why I say that is because even though I'm level 59, I don't really struggle with killing a whole lot of things. However, if my build does not drastically increase within the next few levels, when I hit level 70, things are going to get a lot harder. And the reason why I bring that up is because over here, if you look at the world tier statues, basically what's recommended is level 50 to level 70, and Nightmare is recommended. Level 70 plus is where Torment's recommended. Now, you can get into Torment a lot under 70. This is not a hard and fast rule where you're like, oh yeah, I have to do this. Yada, yada, yada. Not at all. But what I'm using this is as a formal balance for you to understand something, okay? Each difficulty going up, the monsters get more challenging. Notice that when you have an adventure, enemies are easy to defeat. Veteran, enemies are more challenging. Nightmare, enemies are more formidable. Okay, so now we're getting more formidable. Last but not least, enemies are more fearsome. So what this is telling you is that not only are your enemies ramping in difficulty as you go up your world tiers, also as you're leveling up your character, you're also scaling the enemies. So even though I may be at level 59 right now and the enemies are level 59, is that necessarily a good thing? And a lot of times it's not going to be. And the reason I say that is because if you look at my build right now, realistically, my attack should just be a smidge higher. I'm at level 59, almost 60. I don't think that the 1,000 per 10 rule really makes a whole lot of sense. However, I should be somewhere between 4,500 to 5K. It would make a lot more sense for my build. So as I keep leveling up until I get to like extra Paragon points or something like that, I'm going to start actually becoming weaker. So this means if you don't stay on top of your gear the entire time as you level, or if don't do the campaign, or if you try to do a bunch of extra stuff before you finish the campaign, the world's going to scale with you, and this can leave you in a very negative way. Now, one thing to note is that if you're doing, say, sigils, right, this is going to be a little different. The monsters won't necessarily scale with you, so this is going to be more applied to your open world farming and your events and things of that nature. That's where this is really going to matter, but it also will affect, like, say, the world boss as well. So keep that in mind, because as you scale, you're actually getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And the only way to overcome that is by making sure that you have the best gear equipped and staying above bar, right? That's what makes the most sense. If things start getting a little hard, you need to just quickly figure out, okay, what am I lacking on my build, and then get that very quickly. Scaling can be a very good thing, so definitely don't take this as a totally negative review of scaling. Me personally, I do like it, and the reason why I like it is because I can come over here and I can go to my clan and I can say, hey, I need to go help power level eBay Sal for some reason. You know, he's level 33. Well, guess what? I can throw him in a party with me, and as long as we're in World Tier 2, because he's only level 33, the monsters are going to be able to be scaled down to him to kill, and they're going to scale up to me. So this means I can still do a crap ton of damage in there. I would be jumping down a world tier, which makes them a little easier to fight, and then I could help power level this character up. Okay, so scaling can be good, and the entire time I'm doing this, it doesn't make me feel bored, like, oh, this is just so easy, I'm just gonna sit here and click a button and be done. It does at least make you feel like you're more immersed in the game, because you are constantly facing an opponent that equals you as far as your stats, so to speak, because yeah, as you level up, guess what? So do the opponents you are facing. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, do not get caught up in the thought of like, okay, well, you know, scaling is whatever, it doesn't matter, like it's all the same. Well, it really isn't. So when you look at your XP here, 2.5 million for me to go up to the next level, this also scales. Okay, so the higher this scales, you aren't necessarily getting more experience from the enemies as you level up as well. Now, sometimes you do get a little bit of a boost, especially with elites, you get a higher XP rate from than your normal kills. That's pretty much standard status quo, right? But this level experience is going to go up higher and higher as well. So as you scale, and this takes longer and longer and longer and longer, it leaves you more vulnerable because your stats aren't going up as quickly and you have to really maintain the gear. So what's really imperative and very good for you to know is when you're starting the game, you have until about level 40, level 50 before this doesn't affect you. Once you've hit those tiers, as long as you follow the normal tips of, okay, get in here and hit W, get all your extra skill points and all these, right? You'll make sure you get all these, get your potions. As long as you follow that quick, easy advice, going to level 50 is no big deal. You don't need gear. Even going to level 60 isn't that hard with just very minimal of your build of your legendaries. However, when you start pushing into the 60s to say the 80 range, if you have not started to focus on your build, if you've not got the right legendaries, if you don't have high enough breakpoint gear, you're going to lose. And that's just plain and simple, because as you level, so does the enemies, which then scales infinitely. Even though it's really nice and impactful that you can play with everybody and they don't necessarily have to feel like they're just being drug along, it's also very hindering to you, the player, because if you haven't focused and prioritized your gear and your stats on your champion, there's a good chance that the game is actually going to get harder for you as you level up, and not because of the difficulty setting. So definitely bear that in mind. Don't forget it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up and letting you guys all know about this is simply for the fact of you may hit a wall at some point. And when you hit that wall, think back to this video and go, okay, John said, as I level up, I get weaker. How do I get stronger? Utilize that, go do some hell tides, drop a world tier, go do something else, farm some dungeons, get better gear, and that way the game will get easier for you. Do not give up. It's okay. It's the way it's designed. You're not doing anything wrong. The game is meant to challenge you. So hopefully you guys rise up to the challenge. Hopefully you guys have a lot of fun with it. And if you do, I hope you like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, I hope you like and subscribe for one. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.